Assalamualaikum and greeting to everyone. My name is Nur Fadila binti Pak Zil and it's my pleasure to be moderator for this group discussion. First, let me introduce to you our panelists. Here we have Mr. Muhammad Ishaq, Ms. Siti Nur Shafika, Ms. Siti Nur Aisha, and lastly Ms. Nur Afifah. In this group discussion, we will discuss a topic about anxiety attack versus panic attack. Apart from that, we're also going to discover the difference between these two issues. If you are struggling to know the difference, then this topic is for you. Although it can be distressing, anxiety is a complete normal part of life. Everyone will experience anxiety at some point in their life, usually surrounding a stressful event such as an exam or job interview. Anxiety is a common experience. When the presentation of anxiety meets certain criteria, such as in generalized anxiety disorder, it becomes a disaster. The same relationship distinguishes individual panic attack from panic disorder, a chronic and distressing condition that can affect anybody. Without any delay, I want to welcome our first panel, Mr. Muhammad Ishaq, to give us some short explanation and definition of both disorder.
Thank you, Ms. Nur Fadila. First of all, thank you for this opportunity to be here today. Generally, what is actually panic and anxiety attack? So, panic attack produce an instant feel of fear or nervousness. It comes without any warning and can often be so overwhelming as disable to the person will is happening. They are typically short, reaching here in about 10 minutes before dissipating. For anxiety attack, like panic attack, the fear can be instant, real, or perceived. But anxiety attack don't strike suddenly. Instead, they are built over time. It may take a day, a week, or even month before the anxiety attack. But thankfully, the symptom of anxiety attack are far less instant than those of a panic attack. So still give a duration of the event. Anxiety attack can be distinct to the sufferer.
Wow, what a great point there. Thank you, panel one, Mr. Muhammad Ishaq. And as we all heard, most people were talking about panic attack and anxiety attack like they are the same thing, but actually they are different condition. So I would like to have our panel here to talk about difference between anxiety and panic attack, starting with second panel, Ms. Siti Nur Shafika, to open this topic.
So one of the most significant differences between anxiety and panic is anxiety can last much longer. So fortunately, for those who suffer from panic attacks, episodes are usually short-lived, while a lot of attacks and within 10 minutes of beginning, there will be a multiple rolling attacks can come and go for several hours at a time. And of course, the frequency of panic attacks varies from person. So no two experiences will necessarily be the same. Anxiety, from the other hand, is much more long term. You can think of it more like a chance in one's everyday behavior rather than a sudden severe distress.
Yes, absolutely agree with you, Ms. Shafika. Symptoms can last for years, even with treatment, but just like panic disorder. No two cases of anxiety are the same. Besides, panic is specific while anxiety is more general. A panic attack is a specific event that occurs with a defined characteristic and involves feelings of intense fear, danger, or doubt, where anxiety is a more general term related to stress and worry. Neither an anxiety or panic attack need a specific trigger to occur it. But anxiety can also cause generalized stress and worry about the future, past and even hypothetical events, which means situations that we imagine.
Sorry for interrupting, but here I want to add some other information. Panic attacks often occur out of the blue, without any triggers present. This doesn't mean that the triggers for panic doesn't exist. But the lack of casualty can make these seemingly random attacks more distressing. Anxiety attacks, though typically occur in relation to a specific event, situation, or thoughts that triggers the unwanted response. While anxiety disorder can disrupt a person's life even when the triggers are not present.
So, what we can conclude here is panic attack can be scary, but they are not dangerous. But the fear they may cause you can be more unsettling than the attack itself. That is especially true if you are never had one before. When it is your first episode, you may think you are having a stroke or heart attack, which is actually could lead you to the short term of life where you could have the big potential to facing the panic attack. Anxiety can give you some of these, but they tend to be milder. Instead, you will have more mental symptoms like a racing mind, lot of worries you can stop, and hard time focus. You might also feel restless and have hard time sleeping. What about any other difference between anxiety and panic attack? Let's hear it out from our panel one, Mr. Muhammad Ishaq.
Thank you, Ms. Moderator. The other difference between anxiety and panic attack is they have a different symptom. Although both disorders are based in several scenes of worry of others, they have expressed themselves in different ways. Symptoms of anxiety disorder include more generalized emotion symptoms such as feeling of worry and feeling tense or jumping. There's some logical symptom can also lead to physical manifestation of symptom like problem from eating or eating less. The symptom of panic attack, on the other hand, are more severe and come on more interruptibility than anxiety disorder. There can include weeping, shaking, chest pain, and a rapid head rate, and even numbness of choking.
Sorry for interrupting. I would like to add some information for panic attack. They also will fear of detachment, fear of losing control, and fear of dying. Admittedly, some of these symptoms might naturally happen together, and so they can be very hard to tease apart. For example, it will be unusual for a person that is sweating, feeling dizzy, and feeling chilled to also not be trembling. It's also important to note that some of these are physical symptoms, whereas others are specific to our idea.
Thank you to panel 1 and panel 3. From that, we could conclude that anxiety disorder and panic attack may feel similar and they share a lot of emotional and physical symptoms. You can experience both an anxiety and panic attack at the same time. For a panel 4, Ms. Nur Afifah, would you explain or give more difference between anxiety and panic attack that you know?
Thank you to Ms. Nur Fadila. The difference between anxiety and panic attack is panic attack are more sudden. Symptoms of anxiety tend to show themselves gradually when exposed to a trigger. When anxiety disorder become long-term though, symptoms can become so constant that it can be hard to tell when they begin and end. Anxiety may also begin to cause more intrusive symptoms that occur more frequently when stresses are not actually present. Panic attacks are much more distinct. Symptoms come on suddenly and noticeable rather than building up gradually over time. The acute of panic symptoms such as chest pain and shortness of breath have led many to mistake the symptoms for a heart attack. Luckily, panic attack is not life-threatening and will often resolve on its own.
Yes, I agree with Ms. Nurul Afifah. Other than that, panic attacks can leave you feeling unreal and out of control. For many, the scariest symptoms of a panic attack are not the physical sensations, but the mental unrest. In an article for the National Illness, writer Jenny Marie recounts her own personal experience with these symptoms. She describes the realizations as feeling withdrawn from one's surroundings, as if the world isn't real. Depersonalization, on the other hand, is closer to an out-of-body experience, in which a person feels separated from his own self. Okay, and then Jenny didn't learn that these orientations was also part of panic attack until she had worked through her symptoms. After that, she began to have the peace of mind and share her story to us.
To summarize that, for our final decision, we agree that anxiety and panic attack is two different things. The main difference between anxiety and panic attack are anxiety lasts longer, panic attack is specific, while anxiety is more general. Panic and anxiety have different symptoms, with anxiety involving symptoms like irritability, while panic attack can include shaking, chest pain, and increased rate, and also numbness. And lastly, panic attack is more sudden. That's all from our group discussion, and I hope you gain additional knowledge through this discussion. Thank you to our panelists that have been sharing their knowledge about anxiety and the panic attack. Short explanation and definition of both disaster. Disorder. Without any delay, I want to welcome our first panel, Mr. Muhammad Izhar, to give us some short explanation and definition of both disorder. Aku tengah tunggu Is.
Lah, aku ingat dia nak pause. Aku ingat ke? Alay. Okay, dia takut. Ada aku dah. Go ke tak?
Aku kan, line aku slow ke tak sampai-sampai gaya aku.